That's kind of rude. She was thinner than you.
You're unattractive inside and out.
I attacked you.
Can you stop interrupting? We need you out of the studio, guys.
You said you had a 5-year relationship, so you know how much you spent on your girlfriend, right?
Hopefully.
I think I bought her dinner once.
Oh, but
I'm dead serious.
That's really
I'm trying to think. Yeah, maybe a couple times I took her out to dinner. Maybe.
Wow.
5 years, by the way.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm a gentleman, okay?
Didn't live with her either.
I am a gentleman.
And next, the host is asked a question that's going to turn this conversation into a heated argument. What goes wrong in the communication process? What are the pitfalls in an argument? And how do we interact with personality types we don't know how to interact with? Let's find out as things are about to get even spicier than usual.
Was she ugly and fat?
No. Why would... No, she's actually
like that. Nick's giving yes.
No,
He's implying yes.
No, I don't think...
Can I see a picture of her?
I could show you a picture.
Show me a picture.
I'm not going to show you a picture now.
Right now.
I'm not showing you a picture now.
You're interrogating us, let me interrogate you.
First of all, she's asking, not stating. I'll get back to why that's important. Secondly, the host laughs initially. Later on, the guest clarifies that she meant it as a joke, so potentially the fact that he laughs makes it harder for him later to deny that it was a joke. However, laughter is also a common, oftentimes involuntary response to questions and statements we don't know how to deal with. So right from the beginning, the host unintentionally shows the guest that he doesn't know how to respond. In an argument, speakers look to find each other's weaknesses, and the guest has obviously found a weakness here, which is why she keeps trying to turn the tables in this teasing manner. The conversation could have ended here, but it doesn't. It goes on for the next 25 minutes. Also, without being a dating expert, I do know what playful testing looks like. She's clearly testing the host to see how he reacts to this pretend power struggle. The worst possible reaction to playful personalities is to get upset because anger is the exact emotion they're testing for. In a situation like this, it's often better to come up with equally playful and rude responses like, "How'd you know?" or "Sure, I had to find my looks match." Self-deprecating humor, especially when you're a host and thus in a power position, is oftentimes an effective counter-response. It'd be another thing if the guest had actually seen pictures of his ex-girlfriend. Then a word like ugly would be indisputably rude and uncalled for.
She's a fatty.
No, she was not.
She's not fat. I laughed. It was so weird.
Oh,
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
It was... That's
so
the weird
funny.
question.
I'll tell you this. I mean, she was thinner than you.
it's just a funny
Thinner
question.
than me.
She was thinner than you. How
Are you
about
calling me
that?
fat?
Is that what I said?
Initially, she asked about his ex-girlfriend's looks. Now she's stating because he won't show a picture of her. With her closing question, she's hinting at a self-deprecating side to her personality, that she doesn't take herself, and more importantly, this argument that seriously. Actually, and obviously, this has nothing to do with his ex-girlfriend's looks. What she's really attacking is his claim to have bought dinner once or twice in 5 years, which, by the way, some claim.
And then you start taking it personally and then make it weird and all serious. It was like nothing serious. Like,
Okay, so this is precisely what zero accountability looks like. First off, we don't have the level of rapport for the jokes that you made to be appropriate. You know, I wasn't like...
bought her dinner once or twice
a couple
in
times
5 years.
and you said, "Oh, she must be ugly."
I said,
she must be fat.
I said, was she?
Oh,
Well-
that's kind of okay. So I don't see.
Can I
exact,
say something?
No, hold on. So that's kind of a semantic thing there. You
a joke.
essentially said she must be ugly.
I said, was she ugly? That you
Was
only
she
bought
fat?
her?
That's kind of rude.
It was a joke, by the way. Let's all...
Either the joke is that he didn't want to be seen with his ex-girlfriend because of her looks, or that he didn't want to do anything for her because of her looks. Either way, the joke isn't the main issue here. The guest uses the joke to make a point, that she thinks buying dinner once or twice in 5 years isn't optimal. Thus, the subsequent 20-minute discussion is actually about the wrong issue, and thus, even though she's right that she did ask, it ultimately doesn't matter. What they should be discussing is whether or not buying dinner once or twice in 5 years is good or bad. Instead, they end up discussing the sarcastic question, a joke, that she used to make her point in the first place. In an argument, when you're showing your opponent that their sarcastic assumptions upset you, you implicitly set the bar high for yourself. Because this means that you also can't make assumptions about the speaker. If you do, the speaker and the other speakers will point it out as hypocrisy.
You were like being accusatory and making presumptions about them as well.
Give me an example.
You were saying you probably don't cook and clean, huh?
Yeah.
Real.
And when I said
Brian
I
did
don't have a
that.
sugar daddy, you looked at me like, come on,
Real.
you don't?
There's little difference between an argument and a boxing match. In the ring, if you let your opponent see your weak spots, he will go for them. In an argument, if you let it be known that certain responses affect you, your opponent will keep making them. And speaking of assumptions, what about the title of the video?
Are we good?
What do you mean?
We're cool.
I don't know. You're the one who
Do we have
kind
a rapport?
In an attempt to end the argument, she reuses his word.
Rapport?
of rapport.
Lexical reuse, as it's called, signals to the other speaker that you're being properly responsive to what they've said. It shows cooperation. In this situation, there's also a slightly teasing and again playful element to it. This would have been a great opportunity to end the argument on a cheery note. Would have.
Look,
Can we just...
in my view, you were being rude. And I
That's
told you
your
to stop.
opinion, and I respect that. And I
Okay.
apologize if you think I was rude.
It's not that I think you were rude. You were rude.
That's your opinion.
It's not an opinion.
That's an opinion.
It is an opinion, but that's not the point. The point is whether or not buying dinner once or twice is good or bad. So the point about rudeness is distraction, and distraction is a sign that emotions have taken control.
Get the joke. Get the bit.
But
Let's move on.
what's the underlying communication that you're trying to say there?
What are you trying to say when you're implying that we can't cook and clean? You don't know us. It's all jokes. We're all just making jokes here for content. Let's all move on. Let's like make our content and have a good time, and without getting so serious and defensive.
There's obviously
We're both in
scales.
this business.
Can you stop interrupting? There's obviously scales to it, right? So me questioning whether she cooks or cleans for her roster of 10 men is a little different than you ad hominem attacking my ex-girlfriend for calling her...
I didn't attack her. I attacked you.
An ad hominem is when instead of attacking the substance in your opponent's argument, you attack their character or motives. The host saying that he bought dinner once or twice isn't an argument, and thus, the guest's sarcastic question, a joke, or whatever, no pun intended, doesn't qualify as an ad hominem. It was meant to make the host realize that he didn't do enough for his ex-girlfriend, according to the guest. Again, we see the importance of not setting the bar too high in arguments. It'll keep being used against you, and once the damage is done, there's no going back. You're setting yourself up for failure.
What are you trying to say when you're implying that we can't cook and clean? You don't know us.
Or what about this example?
Okay, Puffy Vegas, I'm 100% on Brian's side. Blondie was mean. P.S. Blondie is mid. Okay. We have Sloan Fideli. Have a roster of super hot young women in...
But he just called her mid.
Okay.
Isn't that like...
It's just a joke though, right?
Right, I'm just saying.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like you didn't bat an eyelash at that.
By you not buying, you bought her 2 dinners in 5 years?
No. We're not talking about that. We're talking about you saying that she must be ugly, she must be a fatty.
Roll the clip back. I never said must.
We're not talking about that.
Actually, that's exactly what they're talking about. The discussion about the joke is distraction. The joke was a rhetorical tool to make the host realize his wrongdoings. As we see next, however, this doesn't stop the joke discussion from escalating, creating so much distraction that there's no coming back from it.
I like to crack jokes. I want to make jokes. It was a joke. It wasn't meant to be that serious.
Okay.
I'm not going to explain why it was a joke. To me, it's a joke.
But
I say a lot of jokes.
You can't just defend saying.
Ooh,
Hold on.
I don't even care enough.
Can
to
you
even
stop
keep having
interrupting?
this debate.
Can you stop interrupting? You've asked to have a conversation about it.
I know,
We're
but you keep dragging
stop.
on
Can you
the
stop?
fucking
But
same
stop
question.
interrupting. I failed to see the joke.
Okay. How many
and I'd
times
like to-
did I say
I would like to
it's
open
a
it up
joke
to the table.
Me.
But-
To me, it's an opinion. That's my opinion.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'll get to you in a sec. I'll get to you in a
my
sec.
opinion.
Here's the
Move
thing.
on.
I wanna
I'm
talk
over
again.
it.
I wonder what the next part of the argument is going to be about. Whether or not people should have opinions, or maybe people's opinions about opinions. With their facial expressions, they both show a lack of respect, and without mutual respect, debate is meaningless.
Sure.
Can we move on?
No. I'm gonna You can't just initiate an argument and then just be like, okay, now we're moving on.
Yeah.
It's my show. I'll finish my point and
Make
then
your
we can
point.
move on.
I'm confused about the host's intentions. He said he wanted to open it up to the table, and now he says he wants to finish his point, while his intonation and pauses indicate that he's waiting for a response.
I would like to
It's
open
a
it up to
joke
the table.
me.
I'll finish my point. I failed to see the joke.
Okay.
It's also difficult to see how she initiated an argument,
You can't just initiate an argument.
since she responded with an opinion that the sarcastic question a joke was part of. The facts that he keeps repeating his opinion and wants to open it up to the table, presumably, suggest that he's the one keeping the argument going.
But you're being really rude now.
I'm not being rude.
Yes, you're trying to dictate the flow of the show on my show. We're going to continue talking about it. I'm going to make my point and then I will...
Dictate the flow. You asked why.
You need to stop interrupting. Why do you keep interrupting? Chill out. Okay. Jesus Christ. Look,
Now it's not just her joke that's rude, but also the facts that you told him to move on. However, because he's been ambiguous about what he actually wants out of this conversation, whether it's repeating the same point, wanting her to repeat her same response, opening it up to the table, it can be difficult for all the guests to see why they can't just move on, and this particular guest can have a problem seeing what she's actually interrupting. When she doesn't know what she's interrupting, she can't see why it's supposedly wrong for her to do so. What we're seeing here is the annoyance that speakers can feel when they can't convince their opponent, seeing their opponent rolling their eyes and sighing. That's why it's bad to argue to win. You can hope your opponent will see things your way further down the line, but in the moment, presenting your arguments as logically and calmly as possible is the best you can do. Once emotions take charge, it's too late. Again, like boxing.
let me ask the girls here at the table. If someone to your face
I
called,
said it about
Yo,
your girlfriend.
stop
Then I'm-
interrupting.
Don't yell at me or I'm gonna
You
go.
keep interrupting.
This
It's
is
very
like-
rude. You think it's rude that I'm yelling. You keep interrupting. Stop.
Oh my god.
You've just, you do you not have the social grace to just stop interrupting?
What a crazy assumption.
Are you not interrupting me?
With the word assumption, she keeps using the host's high bar against him. If she can't make assumptions, then he shouldn't be allowed to either. In case she's actually made an assumption, considering that what she said was a joke that was part of a point she was trying to make. Also, the assumption she's reacting to is that she doesn't have the social grace to stop interrupting. The host reacts as if her interruption here proves this assumption, which is another implicit assumption. And you don't prove an assumption with another assumption.
I'd like to ask the girls here at the table. If someone to your face called you ugly, is that a joke?
I would probably just laugh because I know I'm not, but
Is it a joke?
Yeah, I'm
It's
not going to take
offensive.
anyone's
We're all-
opinion
we're all used to
seriously.
the- we're all
If
used
you're
to
talking
the
about someone that you
trolling,
don't even
so-
know also.
I mean,
I mean,
Technically, he's opening it up to the table. Technically.
why would I take anyone's opinions of my appearance seriously? To me,
The
it sounds
sisterhood.
like that you're
The sisterhood.
expecting us to get hurt over people's opinions of us, and that's just not us. If someone's calling
Then
us
the
ugly,
offender donated
I guess we're ugly to them.
$99.
That's their opinion. It's
Prime
valid.
example of why women get treated like children.
A distracting, generalizing assumption like this doesn't exactly make the argument any better. Neither does this one.
Street blonde, you are curt, confrontational, and you carry your life trauma heavier than your makeup. You're unattractive inside and out. Brian has a podcast to run. You don't recognize masculinity because your father is weak and a failure.
I thought the viewers were supposed to lead the way with logical and to-the-point arguments. Instead we get these literal ad hominems.
if someone called you ugly,
Weird thing to say.
would you view it as a joke?
I get told that every day
Yeah.
on the internet, in the comments.
The guest's sarcastic question, a joke, was aimed at the host, not his ex-girlfriend. It wasn't about saying anything to anyone's face, so this question round makes little to no sense. Again, you can't change someone's opinion right away. That goes for face-to-face arguments as well as arguments in comment sections that typically end with insults because some people like to hide behind anonymity. Something tells me this isn't going to have a happy ending.
By the way, it's been
Right.
very rude that you've been checking your phone this entire show.
I'm so sorry. I
Super
didn't
rude.
realize that it was so long. I'm sorry.
Well, you did. I mean,
I know. We wanted to go on,
you-
but we didn't know it was gonna be 4 hours. I'm so sorry.
You requested to be on the show.
I know.
It seems that nothing can end with an apology. On the contrary, apologies seem to make things escalate. And next, things start to escalate. Just like in the beginning when everyone smiled at the sarcastic question or joke, and the discussion devolved from there.
It's not even so. It's not so upsetting that you have to leave. It's just like you've been checked out for the past hour. You've been on your phone. Like even though you requested to be on the show.
I just have like a social battery, and my social battery gets fried. Or I need food.
If you
and
got to
just-
talk, you got to. I mean,
My social
Snacks
battery
do
gets
sound good.
my social battery gets like fried.
It's still
yeah, I don't know
it's
if
still
that
rude to be checking your
matters.
phone, but like that's fine.
Life goes on.
Yep.
Good meeting you
All
guys.
right. Take off. Later.
Thank you for your time. Thanks for having us.
Bye.
We need you out. You can't just be lingering. We need you out of the studio, guys.
So all in all, what did this argument accomplish? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Which is the point. Too many debates are ruined by distractions. All the little things that your opponent says and does that annoy you and you don't know how to handle, but that have little to do with the meat of what they say and the topic at hand. What do you think about this argument? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for tuning in.